In this game, I went dragons. I'll break down why I chose this hero power and the reasoning behind the key decisions that shaped the run. My options here were Galakrond and Yogg Saron. Both hero powers are high variance, but when you're comparing two random effects, the one with the lower armor is usually the stronger baseline. Galakrond also costs gold to activate, while Yogg's is free, so economically, Yogg Saron to me is the better choice. For my first turn, I took Upbeat Front Drake. A free dragon every 3 turns is effectively a mini chef's choice, and in the early game, that repeatable value can really help you snowball. Okay, so here I choose Goldenizer, and it's the strongest option for the line that I'm trying to play. It costs 0 gold, it gives repeatable value every 3 turns, and with dragons, Goldenizer becomes a free triple engine that multiplies my permanent stats, especially if we get lucky and see Time Warped Poet later on. That will not be able to triple unless I have a Goldenizer. So we're taking it for that perceived possibility and value. But even if we don't get that card, there are plenty of other tier 6 dragons that are good. And so it'll be much easier if we have Goldenizers on hand. And here we pick up our first poet card. The Persistent Poet, like I said earlier, just lets you keep all the stats you gain in combat. And that's what you really need to win with an off meta tribe like Dragons. One other note about Persistent Poet, try to put in between two minions that you're pretty sure you're going to keep. Otherwise, you're basically just wasting the accumulated stats. It's a small difference, but it can make big impacts towards the end of the game. All right, so with just the regular poets, I'd probably still win this lobby, but there's variance, and you really have to depend on getting some of the more aggressive combat stat dragons. But with Time Warped Poet, every combat permanently widens the gap, and once I use the Goldenizer on it, then the other dragons all keep double the stats they gain in combat. And so from there on, every fight is basically just about, harvesting stats, and the battle is just sort of secondary. One quick note about Draconic Warden, I don't think he's a bad card, but I'm not trying to play the Drakes, which is basically a battle cry deck. And so, even though he might be a decent card, he doesn't fit with my strategy. And so, that's why I just went ahead and sold him. But if you want to play a Drake strategy, that's certainly viable. It's just not what I'm doing here. This is the turn that actually locked the game up. I buy Amber Guardian, and on paper, it might have looked weird to sell a dragon that had so many stats already to buy the Amber Guardian, but it gives you Divine Shield for one dragon at the start of every combat, and that really matters in this comp because we look to win by just having massive stats, right? But you could come across like a Murloc Poison deck or some sort of undead or more likely beasts in this meta deck, and then you just have to fight so many respawns that you eventually just run out of stats, even though yours are better at the beginning of the round. But the Divine Shield, it lets you take that first hit. So if your attack is higher than your enemy's health, then that's basically doubling the size of your team or your roster for that round. And so that can really make the difference. I don't think it would have made a big difference here, but you always play with the biggest edge you can. And so that's really the last major decision of the game. I'm just going to fast forward all the way through the end till here. I appreciate you watching this far if you have. Please let me know in the comments. This is the first video of this kind I've done, and really the first YouTube video I've done that wasn't just a live stream in quite a while. And I have new equipment and I'm working with new editing software. So please let me know, do you want to see the entire game like I did here? Just fast forwarding the parts where nothing major is happening? Or do you want me to do cuts? The only reason I didn't do cuts is because I wanted to make sure that, the integrity of the game was there. People could see all my decisions. Some of them would be fast forwarded, but you would be able to tell that, it's all from the same game and there's no funny business in the edit. But anyway, please let me know what you think. And, if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments. And I'm always looking to improve my craft. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.